All right, we've taken our commercial break, and Johnny, we're right back to the action. Nick deCarlo, yours truly, and the Cuban Assassins.
And they're still working on that arm. The key to these boys is that they can wrestle, and they keep constantly tagging out and coming in with a fresh partner. And if you can do that, good time. Now the referee should have seen that time.
Forearm. Right into Nick. Great action. The crowd at this point was on its feet and yelling, "Go, Johnny, go." Which had to pump up the old adrenaline.
It feels good, you know.
Home crowd advantage.
Exactly that, right. Any athlete who's competing in any sport, when he feels the support of the audience there, and you feel better. You don't want to let them down. You function basically as an individual, and your own sense of pride says, well, I don't want to look bad in the ring. I want to compete as strongly and as well as I can. But when you've got a bunch of people there that are kind of looking out for you and looking after you to support-wise, you just let out a little better. Hard dumping. No, it's not in the corner post there.
I understand that the Cuban Assassins now, they were in Winston-Salem a couple of weeks ago. They will be wrestling throughout the Carolinas during the months to come.
Right, in Virginia, too, all through the IWA network down here on the East Coast. This is where I thought I had them, but it shows the resilience, the strength of both of them. The partner came in to give him that extra couple-second breather, and if he doesn't get up, right, I thought most men cannot take a crack to the head like that with a steel post. But he comes out of it. This shows you when an athlete's really in condition, you can take an enormous amount of punishment and still come back and keep the match alive.
Of course, this was a long match. It had to go over 22 to 25 minutes.
It felt like a couple hours in there. There are sometimes, if you're really in shape and you feel you've got your match psyched out, you can coast once in a while. This is not a match where you could coast for a second. If we didn't stay on top of it, we would have lost the belts. There was no question about that. I figured I'd give the Cuban a little exchange on the arm lock that he'd give to deCarlo, just so he didn't think they were going to get away with it.
On the fans jumping up in front of the cameras that were there at the Coliseum.
Wrestling's a spectator sport. I mean, the fans just turn on. They get really involved with
up and over.
And here's a backdrop that not many wrestlers can take. The fellow had to go up about, I'm 6'4", and if I put my arm up like that, it's over 8 foot, so the fellow took an 8 foot backdrop there. He should have stayed down.
Nice move.
I forgot we did. Strong fellows. They're all over the ring, and it's hard to stay on top of them. The fans, a lot of the fans didn't sit down for the whole match, I don't think. Huh?
That's right. It's so hot. You talk about if anybody's ever boxed, and I know every kid in the country has boxed a round, one round, which is like 3 minutes. You're just
beat.
But this goes on for like 22 to 25 minutes. It was very, very warm under the lights. And of course, when you're taking in and out of the ring, and you're taking shots, sooner or later somebody's going to have to throw in the towel.
It's an example, too, of for all the wrestling fans that are used to watching studio matches that are taped in various locations around the country. This is an example of an atmosphere that's in the arenas and coliseums, and why you should come out when the wrestling matches come to your area. There's a whole different feel and flavor to it in a coliseum environment where there's thousands of people, and the fans just make sometimes the building literally vibrate, and the different effects, the lighting effect is different. It's when you're just seeing the studio environment, you see, or a TV auditorium, you might see 200 or 300 or 400 people sometimes, but here you see literally thousands of people, and they're just, you really get into it, and this is what makes the wrestling fans come out. Once he's come down and he's seen the product as this is here on the Coliseum, they just keep on coming out.
I thought this was it, but off the top rope. And that is why the IWA promoters decided to go out and tape this match in Winston-Salem, so we could put it on television along the IWA network and let the fans just see the match from the Coliseum standpoint. And of course, you don't have the time limit. On television, we're working on an hour,
right?
And so you don't, some of these matches, you know, the last three I know at the Coliseum were hour time limits. So in every match, I think the last three went over 20 minutes. And of course, on television, when you are restricted to an hour of TV time, you cannot have a match that goes on and on and on and on. Because of the time.
There's different times. There are 15 and 20 minute time limit matches on television.
Besides the atmosphere you're talking about that you get in the Coliseum, where you have
and you see
large
top
crowds.
And you see top matchmaking too. The promoters go all out to make sure that their matchmakers come up with exciting combinations, and that the fans will want to see and come down and get good box office results, because that's where a promoter is really at, right? He's interested in a lot of people coming down, so he's got to supply a good product in the Coliseum arena.
Got to pay those bills, like any business. And of course, we've got a great match coming up, so stay with us. You're going to see the magnificent Zulu, and he is that, against Dick the Bulldog Brower on this hour.
Big dude, yeah.
Yes, he is.
And there's an example. The referee should have been a little tighter in that. If they're going to, another man's going to come in, it should be a legal tag.
He's got like a basic claw hole there.
Yeah, it's a nerve hole that digs deep in the side of the neck and into the trapezius area.
Yeah, and smart. Right off the top rope. Now, right now, you don't like to watch this.
This
not great fond of memories here.
He's got a leg grapevine on and an arm bar, and doing a good job on that. And the body weight, I probably outweighed him by maybe 10, 15 pounds. But the way he's positioned on top, it's hard. You can tell I was doing my best to get out of it. And I'm not moving very far because he's got a good leg grapevine on me. Good position. And this is an example where you can ride your man and wear him out. He's got to lift your body weight and his body weight too, right? So he's got a double workload there. Straight arm bar.
And now you've been in the ring a good 6 to 8 minutes.
Right. Good ring strategy, both assassins. A hard team to work against. Very hard team to wrestle.
Just a couple of weeks ago in the Winston-Salem Memorial Coliseum, taped highlights of the tag team championship battle between Nick deCarlo, Johnny Powers, the current IWA tag team title holders, and the Cuban Assassins. We also want to make mention that IWA Wrestling will be returning to Winston-Salem May the 27th. That's a Friday night at 8:30 with an all-star lineup. I understand Zulu is returning, and Hez Watley, and Big Bad John, Brower, you'll be there, deCarlo, Stroheim, Danny Little Bear, who's a new wrestler to the area.
Right.
It's going to be a great program. May the 27th at 8:30. It's a Friday night. And again, you have not managed to get over, and I know you're trying to make that. Do you ever lose where you're at in the ring? Like, where is deCarlo? Is he over here? Is he over there? My Lord, where is the man? I've got to make the tag. I'm tired and I'm hot. I need a break. I need to catch my breath. Do you ever lose exactly where you're at?
Your ring sense, sure. I think any wrestler says it doesn't, is not telling like it is. If you're really positioned there and you concentrate on one thing, if you're concentrating on your opponent, you can't always keep aware of what else is going on outside the ring. But you try to as much as you can, as quickly as you can, or you don't survive in that ring. Depending on your ability to keep it all together in a tag match, you've got to take advantage of every opening and every breather. That's what makes tag team matches exciting. They originated in Australia. The formal title is Australian Tag Team Wrestling. And there's just so much more action goes on in a tag match because you can tag off and get out of that and let a fresh man come out. Here's an example. Nick's all wrong. He's going to do a job of it. So fantastic move. Look at a slingshot into the corner bucket. And building a new face there.
And again.
Oh, example.
This is a fantastic
Good
move. Right over the top rope and out.
That should have been the match right there.
And another
good form smash. Good shot.
We got them both out. Here comes number 1 and number 2. I don't know their names either. Hard to tell them apart.
Suplex.
Oh.
Good setup for finishing.
He came back.
Short tackles. Side. We're going to side hip lock him, and their arms locked and right on top ropes. It's a freaky move. I've never seen it happen before in wrestling. An attempt at a side hip lock and almost a completion. That was the other assassin going to try to double team Nick on the floor. And
all
just
four
wasn't going to
wrestlers
happen as long as I could walk.
And the count is on from the referee, Mr. Dodson. And now it's all over.
I don't think any of us were aware, except that one assassin was trying to get back in the ring there.
Right.
Aware of the timing that was going on there.
There was the count out. And what do you get? 30 seconds?
20 count on the floor, 10 in the apron,
Okay.
and a 4 count with a 5 as a disqualification on the ropes if you don't break.
Disqualification. All 4 wrestlers were outside the ring. Let's see what happens.
Neither Nick and I were aware of. We should have been watching the time closer and got back in the ring. And would have had a better shot at it, a much better shot.
Of course, it's hard to tell with that much noise and that much confusion of exactly what's going on. Now the presentation of the belts. I think that's coming up. Aha. There's the man out of the cage. You know that fellow?
Yeah, Hines had to try to stick his nose in. And this is going to be one of the last times he does it.
He's got his walking stick. Right now he's bleeding, crying. Up and over.
Little fans stand
Yes. I love this. Like a sack of potatoes. Great action from the Winston-Salem Memorial Coliseum. Tag team action with Johnny Powers, Nick deCarlo, and the Cuban Assassins, along with their manager, Bad Boy Billy Hines. Now, on that situation, explain to the wrestling fans what exactly took place there. We broke away from the tape, but there were no winners.
The title does not change hand on a disqualification or a count out. It must be a pinfall, a three-count pinfall, or a submission. It was a 20 count. Both teams were counted out on the floor for a 20 count. And I talked it over with Nick, I'd like to get in the ring against the Cuban Assassins again. We'd be happy if their manager would, at any time, any place, get them back in the ring. We'd like to have it a firm finish and a decisive win.
But as it stands now, you have the belts.
We're current IWA Tag Team Champions.
And no match has been signed yet to go against the Assassins.
Not at the moment.
Of course, there are other capable teams throughout IWA, and one Tyler Brothers who held that title for a long while. We got to take a break for some commercials, and then we'll be back with more action. The Magnificent Zulu and Dick the Bulldog Brower coming up in just a moment.